reflect those of Heartland Signal, LLC, or its management.
Collaboration Radio.
So let's go ahead and get him on the show. David Dismalchian.
I'm now sitting in a pretty incredible pool of gratitude. It's just like you imagine me right now, close your eyes, see a dude floating in a hot tub. The gratitude is right up to my chin, and I am grinning.
And, you know, the nice thing about those hot tubs is that you can fart whenever you want. Nobody knows you farted, who farted. It's like fart free.
Collaboration Radio, Saturdays at 4.
After getting my promotion, the time had come to sell our home, so we got an appraisal.
But it was much lower than we expected. Before we had it appraised again, a friend suggested we make some changes.
I put my framed vintage Negro League baseball shirt, our African art, and family photos into storage, and that second appraisal came back much higher.
It's a shame we had to hide who we are to get a fair home appraisal.
A recent study found that Black and Latino homeowners are about twice as likely as white homeowners to get low appraisals. For example, one Black homeowner received an appraisal more than double the original after removing family photos, Black art, and books from her home. If you believe your home has been unfairly appraised because of race or national origin, that could violate the Fair Housing Act. Contact HUD at hud.gov/fairhousing. That's hud.gov/fairhousing. Everyone has a right to fair housing. A public service message from HUD in partnership with the National Fair Housing Alliance.
NBC News Radio, I'm Scott Carr. Holiday travelers are being told to steer clear of severe weather in some parts of the U.S. this holiday weekend. Forecasters say heavy rain and damaging winds, including tornadoes, are possible today and tomorrow in parts of the South and Central Plains states. Flood watches are in effect for parts of Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Missouri. 6 people are hurt after a shooting in Colorado Springs. Police there say shots were fired late Saturday near Mitchell High School in the eastern part of the city. Officers found 6 shooting victims. 5 of them are listed in stable condition, 1 of them critical. Police say the shooting apparently started with an argument that escalated. A crypto investor from Kentucky is under arrest, accused of torturing an Italian tourist for weeks inside a luxury Manhattan apartment. Kristen Marks is in New York.
The 28-year-old victim told cops it was on May 6th that he met 37-year-old John Woltz, who took him to an apartment in Soho. Woltz allegedly stole his passport before holding him captive, torturing him until the younger man escaped Friday morning and came across a traffic agent who called police. Officers reportedly found various torture devices and Polaroid pictures of the victim being tortured while tied up at the Prince Street home. Charges are pending against Woltz. Sources say he was trying to extort money from the victim.
The capital of Ukraine is under attack for the second night in a row. Officials in Kyiv say at least 12 people are injured after Russian drones attacked the city early this morning, damaging homes and apartment buildings. Hundreds of Russian drones attacked the city Friday night, injuring at least 15 people. Toyota's recalling over 440,000 Tundra and Tundra hybrid trucks because of issues with backup lights. The car maker says the recall only affects the 2022 to 2025 Tundra and Tundra hybrids equipped with reverse lamp assemblies of a specific design. Scott Carr, NBC News Radio.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
From energy to public health, extreme weather, the economy, and more, Climate Connections makes the global local. Hear it weekdays during the Tom Hartman program and during Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive, right here on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk, where facts matter.
Driving it home with Patty Vasquez.
Those of you who are hate listening, like the rage, the anger has got to be exhausting. So I want you to also take care of yourselves. Maybe take a step back. Try to be mindful about why you're calling people names online. I got called some more names today. I think they are getting a little bit tired. Maybe some of them are starting to have the fart around and find out effects.
Patty Vasquez, weeknights 5 to 7 on WCPT 820.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
And does that actually add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code VEST for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or any gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code VEST for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code VEST for 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
I'd like to welcome you to WCPT AM's Out Chicago. Think of us as Sunday brunch with your gay best friends. Now please welcome your host, Scott Duff.
And a happy Sunday fun day to everybody out there, and a happy Memorial Day weekend. Scott Duff here, along with Ellen Miller.
Hello, Scott.
Hello.
As a friend of mine pointed out this week, Memorial is it's an interesting holiday because we're honoring the dead that died in service for our country.
Yes, as Ding Dong says, suckers and losers.
Yeah, so he suggested we have a meaningful memorial,
there we
which
are.
I thought was kind of
an
interesting way to look at it.
It used to be called Decoration Day.
Decoration Day, yes, it was, because they decorated the graves of the soldiers.
It was fun. This morning, as I was walking my dog, because I live right across from a big cemetery, I was like, oh, wait, is this morning the morning that they shoot the cannons?
Was it?
No, it's tomorrow.
Tomorrow, the actual
So now I got to
Memorial
brace
Day.
my dog. It's awful. But I get the symbolism and the ritual and the ceremony, but it's also like, oof, my dog.
Yeah, totally.
Ooh, it's a little thing. So have a meaningful Memorial Day. And we actually have a surprisingly meaningful show as well. Gerber Hart Library and Archives is opening up the exhibit Windy City Times at 40, Breaking News, Breaking Silence. And it looks back on 40 years of Windy City Times, Chicago's LGBTQ plus newspaper and media company. And we are lucky enough to have owner and co-founder Tracy Baim joining us once more on the show.
I love Tracy.
Girl,
She's everywhere.
She is everywhere. I know I was been trying to work with the Gerber Hart Library, and they were like, "Oh, Tracy's here right now, helping with the installation." I'm like, "Of course she is." So she's like, "Okay, I think I can do it, but I'm going to be in the car." I'm like, "Of course you are." So we're very excited to chat with Tracy as we're beginning to celebrate. It's going to be a year of celebrations because there's a big event that's happening in September at Sidetrack. Cool. There we are. And Pride season is officially among us. Mm-hmm. Lake County Pride Fest, now in its 5th year, is coming up on Saturday, June 14th from 12 to 10 p.m. at the Round Lake Beach Cultural and Civic Center. Executive Director for the LGBTQ plus Center Lake County, Kristal Larson, is going to be joining us.
Excellent.
And, we thought we should have a little, if you're going to be having a barbecue, I can't believe I called it a barbecue because the barbecue, I lived in the South. It's grill. You grill out. Barbecue is a completely different thing.
I always say I'm barbecuing.
Yep. Nope, you're grilling. If you're going to be grilling out, you might need some music.
You might.
And Spencer Tweedy is a Chicago-based musician, writer, and drummer, widely recognized for collaborations with his father, Jeff Tweedy, the frontman of Wilco. And guess what? He's getting ready for his very first solo set in 5 years on May 30th. And it's actually going to be benefiting Brave Space Alliance.
One of our favorite causes.
And Spencer Tweedy is going to be joining us in studio.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
I think he's going to do a song or two, which is always great.
Always lovely. Yeah. Always amazing. Can't wait to see him. Can't wait to hear him.
Yes.
Bask in the vibes. And of course, we would love to hear from you. So give us a call at 773-763-9278. And you know what? You can also text us too. Because the Credo mobile phone and text line is also 773-763-9278.
That makes it easy.
I know Credo Mobile, a progressive phone company that's better for all people on the planet. Visit credomobile.com. But if you don't want to call or text, we hope that you just tune in. So you can always just tune in on WCPT AM 820. right now, or you can find us on Facebook where we're coming at you live. Just head on over to Out Chicago Radio. And while you're at it, give us a like and a share and all that good stuff.
You can see how the magic is made.
It's true. It's true. And you get to see Spencer.
Yes, you'll see Spencer.
You'll see Spencer.
In about an hour or so.
Yeah. Yeah, and make sure you follow WCPT and Heartland Signal on all of the socials. So there we go.
Indeed.
There we are. How are you doing? How are you surviving this Maycember?
Yes, that has been problematic. The weather, everybody's bitching. I went and saw Dawes last night, and the lead singer, Taylor Goldsmith, he's an awesome guy. And he and his brother, Griffin, they head up the band. And he's like, we're from L.A. and this is really, I know you guys are used to this. This is really cold for us. We go, no, it's cold for us, too.
Yeah, we're not used to it. We're not used to it.
I'm wearing like 5 layers, but I did go see them at Gallagher Way last night. Kathy and I are both big Dawes fans. They're not a real well-known band. They're played on the AAA station here in town, but Social Warriors is kind of a social warrior theme today, I think. And Taylor Goldsmith has always been on the positive side of the social issues. He's very outspoken. He's married to Mandy Moore. They lost their studio in the fire, and his brother lost, the drummer, he lost his home in the fires. And they just have a really great, they have a great following because it's people that are into like hooks and into the words. The words are great.
Very lyrically based.
Very lyrically based. And their crowd is always the nicest crowd. I know it sounds crazy because we go see them all the time, but you're standing out at Gallagher Way outside of Wrigley for 2+ hours. My feet were falling asleep. I wasn't cold because I was dressed for, but standing there because you're kind of
you got to move around.
Yeah, I'm like moving my feet and dancing around. But we met really nice people there, and the show was great. And the band gives you good feelings when you hear them. They talk about the loving hootenannies and jams with friends and the things that are important in life to keep the joy going. And
who doesn't love a hootenanny?
Who doesn't love a hootenanny? So did that last night, and today I've got later on Nelson Street Revival 6:30 Belmont Sheffield stage, beginning of the festival season here in Chicago.
Yeah.
Sun is supposed to come out. We're ready to go. Our band is pumped, and so it should be. We got a lot of people coming. I've got cousins in from Cincinnati.
What?
That have never seen me play, and they are threatening to be there, and with their son and his fiance and her family that's in town. And so it's always a great feeling to play in front of friends and family. You were out there one year at the Belmont Sheffield Fest before you had your Sunday gig.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's next on the agenda. But in the meantime, looking forward to a great show. And just the news of the week again. Scott, I'm somewhere between head in the sand and having to just soak up every headline because you just can't look away. It's a dumpster fire that you can't look away from.
It is a total dumpster fire, and it's like, what's happening in our world?
Yeah, what's happening in our world. But we did have a little meetup on Friday. I was a couple of minutes late, I'm sorry. But we had our annual ice cream tasting and decision-making about what our flavors will be for this summer's big contest at Windy City Sweets, benefiting the Gift Theater.
It's benefiting a bunch of different places,
actually.
A bunch of different.
Okay, more than the gift to this
More than
year.
just Special Gifts Theater. It's also, I know later on, we're probably going to, well, so what we did this last year.
Yeah, we did.
We met up with
Scott Wan.
John Manchester, the Candyman, from Windy City Sweets.
Yes.
And they're right there, right in the heart of Lakeview.
Mm-hmm.
And they do a little contest, and they donate money based on when people choose one of our flavors. So we went down, we met up with Alan Frank, from around the town, and we picked our ice cream flavors. What did you pick?
I picked salted caramel pretzel.
I was this
You were
close.
I didn't even know that.
I know, because I just
yeah.
I know I was this close to doing that one.
Really good.
Yes, it's really yummy, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw, who knows? And you picked the lemon cheesecake,
I picked lemon cheesecake because usually I tend to go for the salted caramel things, which, by the way, won last year, just to let you know.
Wasn't it the Green Turtle? Or
it was a salted sea salt turtle
sea
thing.
salt turtle.
Yes. So it was delicious and wonderful.
Obviously, the people thought
The
so.
people agreed.
I liked mine. I was second. The peanut butter chocolate.
The peanut butter chocolate's really good.
So good.
It was really
But we
all
couldn't
the stuff
pick our
was-
same flavors. So.
No. So I decided to veer over into something a little bit brighter,
Yes.
a little bit light, a little bit more fun.
I
for the
love
first time.
lemon
Me
anything,
too. That
so.
stuff was so good.
I didn't get to try that one.
It's so good. Yeah. So, and I don't know. Well, let's see. What did Ellen? There we are. Al picked Pirate's Treasure. Frank espresso chip. Although actually, those are probably really good too.
Well, I think it's going to be.
They are, because all the ice cream at Windy City Sweets is really, really
It's
good.
all delicious. It's really hard to choose.
It is. So when you head down to go see at the Sheffield, what's it called?
The Belmont Sheffield Music Fest.
Belmont Sheffield Music Fest. Pop down to Broadway. It's just a couple blocks away. Get some ice cream.
Some ice cream.
Because
Salted caramel.
Or
pretzel.
lemon cheesecake. Lemon cheesecake. Make you feel bright and sunny because there is no sunshine right now.
It's salty out there. Get some caramel and salt.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
So we're very excited to be partnering again with them
Always.
at Windy City Sweets.
So nice. John is such a nice man.
John is great. He gave me, because I had a second choice, which was like the Tennessee.
I had a second choice too.
Tennessee
Mine was
toffee.
birthday cake.
Oh, birthday cake is good.
It was good.
Birthday cake is good.
So he what? He gave
There's
you?
like a Tennessee toffee thing that's got what is this? Poop. Can't remember.
No poop on there,
No
please.
poop on there. No. What's the name of those? It's not Score. The little toffee bars.
Kit Kat? No,
that's not toffee. That's a wafer.
I know which ones.
I know it's
I
getting out
love
of my head,
them.
but I was like, I'm a total sucker for toffee. He's like,
I
you
am
gotta
too.
come here, and then so he got me. He's like, this is my great grandmother's recipe. It's the Manchester family toffee, and he gave me some.
I saw you have a little box in your hand. I thought, oh, what am I going to be getting? And guess what I got? Nothing.
Oh, well.
That's okay.
There, you have the satisfaction of knowing that you're helping folks out.
Heath Bar.
Heath Bar, thank you.
Sweetie.
Thank you, sweetie.
Sweetie's
Thank
on
you,
it.
sweetie. It went out. Yes, so, but they've got so many great treats there.
Yeah, they do.
And I know later on, starting next month, they're going to be doing special like Pride jelly beans and Pride cakes and Pride things that will go to benefit the center on Halstead. And I think we're going to have John on the show in a couple of weeks.
You know,
So,
I love our allies that are our straight allies that are putting their money where their mouth is. They know right now a lot of people are in the crosshairs in the LGBTQ plus community. So it just is so gratifying and nice to know that there's people like John out there.
And it's also great to support small local businesses. They're being hammered these days.
God, they can't. The rents are so high. You know, they can't afford to.
Supply chain stuff.
Supply chain's
it's gonna,
getting
it's going to be
expensive.
even worse. So make sure like if you're going out and about, support like your smaller businesses.
I always feel good doing that. And you know what? If they take cash, bring
Paying
cash.
Yeah.
They don't have to pay service charges. I always try to keep that in mind too.
100%.
It's a little small thing, but if everybody does it, it adds up.
It's true. It's true. So, but I had to scooch out of there. I had gotten there and then found my thing, but I had to scooch out because I was hosting my Memorial Day weekend. Began on Friday because
how was your beginning of your Memorial Day
it was
weekend?
lovely. Like my friends and neighbors, they moved here.
Sad. Always sad to lose
It's
neighbors.
so sad.
The relationship's never the same. It's weird. You say you're going to see each other and you mean it, but when you're a neighbor versus when they move somewhere else, it's very hard.
I know it's going to be
changes.
Well, I mean, literally, it is a 10-minute walk away. I know.
But
I know. I understand. Yeah. I know. So, but they were moving away, and we thought we'd have, one last patio hurrah. So we had
You braved the cold.
We braved the cold, but I got a fire pit.
You got the pit.
So we fired at the fire pit. We had I made some ribs.
Nice.
They're really good. Some blue cheese coleslaw.
I have to talk to you about how you did it on the break.
Oh yeah.
Get your
it's
process.
all about the rub.
It is about
it's
the
all
rub.
about the rub. You got to rub your meat.
I'll be rubbing some meat when I get home.
There you go. So so we had that, and she's a vegetarian, so I made a lion's mane mushroom pulled pork barbecue sandwich. It was real good.
That's a hefty. That's like a dense mushroom. Right?
Yeah, but you shred it.
Oh,
you shred it because it's shreds.
Very nice.
You can also make a really delicious fake crab cake with a lion's mane mushroom. I love lion's mane mushrooms.
I've never worked with them, but I've seen them in restaurants.
You should go to Edgewater Produce, which is oddly enough in Andersonville. But go there because they've got beautiful ones. They're huge.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
I'll check it out. Thank you.
So we had, some good old social time. The dogs got to hang out together. And then, there we are. But it's back to work for me today.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow, work.
Back to work. Yeah. Are you kidding me? Yeah. There are a lot of people out there who don't have 3-day weekends. Just a reminder.
Yeah.
Just a reminder. And when you're making idle
all your
chit-chat.
retail people, all your grocery people for the most part.
People who work in restaurants.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who don't. So just a reminder when you're complaining about how the 3-day weekend wasn't long enough.
Think about others.
Just know that there are other folks who are out there just doing a little worky poo.
Yes.
But it was great just to kind of, we had sunshine.
It
on Thursday
felt beautiful.
On Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, it felt great to feel the sun on our faces.
I know, but it was still very, very cold. But I did also just, because it is graduation season.
Yes, it is.
I always think back to, all the graduations I've attended and gone to. And one of my former students reached out to me and she was like, hey, I'm coming to Chicago in July. Do you want to meet my new husband?
Oh.
And I'm like, absolutely. I most certainly do. I love it.
See, they really think a lot of you want you to meet
it was wonderful. I was doing the math. It has been 14 years since I was their teacher.
But you haven't left their minds.
I know. And this particular former student, I've known her. Oh my gosh, I've known her since she was like 11.
Oh.
Yeah, we met before I was even a teacher. I was working at a community theater in Memphis, and I was the director of education there. And she came for a summer camp, and I was like, "Who are you?"
Is she in the arts today?
Yes, she just directed. She had just had her directorial debut off Broadway.
Fantastic.
I know. So we were kind of chatting back and forth and doing all this stuff, and she's like, "I'm so sorry I didn't invite you to the wedding." I'm like, "That's okay. Idris invited me to his wedding." She's like, "Are you serious? Or are you joking?" I'm like, "I'm joking. It's totally fine. I get it." But yeah. But it's one of those moments of like,
You'll have more quality time with them than you would have had at the wedding.
Absolutely. But it's just, I guess you never realize how much of an effect you have on people just by being kind and present.
Yeah, you're right. It's true, and it's always a nice surprise.
And being there. Yeah. So, I don't know. So it made me feel really good. And get to reunited, and it feels so good in July. There it is.
Good news. Good stuff.
It is. Good stuff. Hey, we should probably take a break. But before we do that, we got to pay some bills around here. And this part about Chicago is brought to you by Team Hochberg. If you're struggling to make your mortgage, auto, or credit card payments, you're not alone. You need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. During the first quarter of 2025, more than 12% of credit card accounts, approximately 5% of auto loans, and nearly 1% of mortgages are more than 90 days past due, which is the highest in the past 15 years. If you're having challenges making your payments, the best time to contact Team Hochberg is today, not tomorrow, not next week, and not next year. Call Team Hochberg now at 855-563-2843 for a free consultation with an experienced Team Hochberg mortgage professional. If you qualify, Team Hochberg will help you consolidate your debt, enhance your credit, and reduce your monthly payments. So call Team Hochberg. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of WCPT listeners, but they can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. That number again is 855-563-2843, and the website you know and love, 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061. We've got to take a quick break, and when we come back, dipping into the news of the week, and blech. That's what I have to say. But please, stick around. You're listening to Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
The family meeting.
There's a practical use to social media. And I know it's hard to watch some of the garbage that comes across, the silly videos and, You don't want everybody to tell you every little thing they're doing in their life. I don't care about you eating the pizza. I don't care about that.
It's still different than opening up a newspaper or a magazine and going, well, that article I'm not interested in. That article I'm not interested in. I'm interested in one.
Or thumbs down or whatever you do to it so it doesn't show up anymore.
Same thing.
But it's also an opportunity for you to spread the word, right?
Tune into the family meeting Sundays at 4.
This is a WCPT Civil Rights Snapshot. Many know of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., but few know of his right-hand man, Bayard Rustin. Rustin was born in 1912, raised by his grandparents, who taught him the Quaker values of peace and nonviolence. In college, Rustin grew an interest in socialism, joining the Fellowship of Reconciliation, working with them for 10 years before Rustin was fired and arrested for being caught having sexual relations with another man in a parked car. But his time there wasn't for nothing, as it was there he met A. Philip Randolph, who convinced Rustin to meet with Dr. King during the Montgomery bus boycott. Rustin, along with writings from Gandhi, urged Dr. King to accept pacifism as a way of life. Rustin showed brilliant strategies and organization skills, which led to him organizing the March on Washington, having thousands of people attend. However, this partnership would not last, as Dr. King distanced himself from Rustin after Congressman Powell threatened to use Rustin's sexual orientation against Dr. King. Rustin continued to work with Randolph for civil rights and gay rights until his death in 1987. Please stay vigilant about our civil rights. The fight is never over.
Chicagoland, are you ready to head up to the northwest suburbs on Sunday, June 1st?
It's the 7th annual family-friendly Buffalo Grove Pride Parade. It all begins at 11 a.m. featuring 100 businesses, organizations, dance teams, musicians, bands, schools, and much more. The parade is geared for the LGBTQ community members and allies of all ages. This year's theme, Pride is Natural, highlights the normalcy of being an LGBTQ family in this time of great distress in our nation.
And this year's Grand Marshals, well, it's us. Yes, WCPT 820's own me, Scott Duff.
And me, Ellen Miller.
We're the hosts about Chicago. The Buffalo Grove Pride Parade will feature a special tribute to Balloons by Tommy's, late great owner, with an incredible display of rainbow balloons.
The Buffalo Grove Pride Parade, the family-friendly Pride Parade filled with magical giveaways for all, is Sunday, June 1st at 11 a.m.
Information and map can be found at pintaprideproject.com. See you there.
You're listening to WCPT 820, because facts matter.
Hey, this is Mark Patton, and I'm from Spring Clean, My Nightmare on Elm Street, and you're listening to Out Chicago.
And welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ellen Miller, rolling along on this chilly morning.
It's going to get better.
The sun's going to come out later. The sun's going to come out later. Oh, please let the sun come out later.
Yes, I think it's going to come out just before my show tonight.
Wonderful. I think, well, hopefully it'll come out a little bit before
Hopefully,
that.
yeah.
That's what I hope.
ASAP.
It's true. It's true. Hey, don't forget, you can listen to, rate, and share the Out Chicago full episodes and featured interview podcasts. What? Podcast form. They are both available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Amazon.
Just everywhere podcasts
Just everywhere
are.
you get your podcasts. So search for Out Chicago or get the links on our show page by visiting heartlandsignal.com and clicking on our picture. It's adorable. The latest additions to our featured interviews podcast are Chicago alderwoman Lenny Mana Hoppenworth, Hadestown star Jalen C. Crump, art historian and curator Jonathan Katz. My neighbors just went to go see that exhibit at Brightwood 659. The first homosexual is amazing.
It is. I saw it the first time around, but I hear it's even
bigger.
better and bigger.
It's bigger now.
Yeah.
Playwright and Chicago mortgage broker Shimmy Braun, and Carolyn Pinta of the Buffalo Grove Pride Parade, which, oh, by the way, we're going to be the Grand Marshals next Sunday.
A week from today. We'll be waving our parade wave.
We'll be doing our parade waves. We'll be doing our little princess things. I got to get sunglasses. I'm being optimistic.
What do you mean? You don't have any?
No, but like, here's the thing. I have a very weird thing with sunglasses. Like, I don't like wearing them because they're too dark for me. So I got to find the right level of sunglasses.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Maui gym gal. That's what I've been wearing for about 20 years.
Oh, all right. I have no idea.
Oh, they're overpriced.
Oh, see, there we go. I can't also spend a lot of money because I lose them. I lose them.
You don't lose those when you just, they're always like.
Yeah, no, still would lose them.
Yeah.
Or my dog would get them.
Oh, not good.
I know. Emmett likes to chew something sometimes. He's growing out of
Maggie's
that.
pretty good about knowing what to chew. She has her toys, and that's it.
There we go. Well, actually, I take that back. It just happened when we first got Emmett.
Yeah, well, when we first got Maggie.
And he found a pair of my glasses, and apparently he likes what the back of my ears
He
taste like.
enjoyed them.
He just wanted to chew on them.
Yeah.
My regular glasses.
Kathy found, Maggie found Kathy's night guard.
Oh, no.
So she hadn't chewed anything of ours in years, but that looked like a friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
it came up
but
later.
anyways, we will have sunglasses. We'll be on a float. We're going to be doing a live broadcast from Buffalo Grove. Ken Mejia Beal is going to be taking the first hour, and then we're going to pop on for the second
hour. We have a lot of guests lined up that'll be fun.
I know.
We'll be fresh off the parade route and exhilarated and ready to go. And
filled with pride.
Filled with pride and stories of our moments in the parade.
Of our journey through Buffalo Grove. There we are.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I think, I'm hearing a lot of people coming out. I know a lot of suburbanites because I grew up out there.
Mm-hmm.
My brother and his partner are threatening to come. They live in Northbrook.
Why everybody keeps threatening? You keep telling people that they're threatening to come. Do you not like them?
No, they just don't show.
Oh, okay.
I say threatening, meaning they say they're going to come, but sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
But that's because I'm managing my expectations.
Yeah. All right. Well.
When family members say they're coming to one of your things, it's like you get excited and then
I've always been like, nope, they're just not going to show. I prefer just to think that they're not going to come and then be pleasantly surprised. Like, oh, look at that.
Look at that.
They showed up.
There they are.
How wonderful.
Yeah.
So we'll be out at the Buffalo Grove Pride Parade to kick off.
Law of averages, the weather's going to be great next week.
Don't say that.
It's going to be great.
I said that about the Pride Parade the year that it rained.
That's true.
So,
my God, 75 and sunny right now.
I know, right now.
75 and sunny.
You don't blame yourself, Scott, because I remember I was here that night, and it was one Miss Ellen Miller who said it never rains on Pride Parade.
It's all my fault.
Oh, there we go.
All my fault.
Accountability comes around.
It does. I'm so sorry.
I still love you, Ellen.
I love you too, Devin.
Oh, man. It's just been a weird week.
Yeah. Starting with the
sad news that President Biden has a stage 4 prostate cancer. That is just awful. And of course, Ding Dong and his followers use it as an opportunity to attack him and just show folks exactly how dumb.
How low will they go? We see every week.
And how dumb they are.
Yeah.
Stage 9 cancer.
No.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. That's what Ding Dong said. Stage 9 cancer. And then Ding Dong Jr. was tweeting about, why didn't Dr. Biden know about this thing earlier?
Oh, yeah, Dr. Biden.
Well, Dr. Biden is
not
a teacher.
Medical doctor.
He's not a medical doctor. It's just, but, last week, some callers decided to, they were coming after me because I was talking about how half the country thinks that the other half is evil, and vice versa. And it works on both sides. And they were coming after me for both sidesism. And I think I want to take a little moment to it was a call that we didn't get to take, but that was definitely what they wanted to talk about. But what I want to, just to clarify, let it be clear. I think most of the people who are elected in the GOP, yes, 100%. I think that they have malice in their heart. I think they are cruel. I think they are unconscionable what they're doing, the way that they're going after the least of us. This is the 5th anniversary of the George Floyd murder that happened. What's going on, with the Black Lives Matter and how they managed to twist things around. It's awful. I'm talking about the population. Yeah. I'm talking about the American citizens, the United States of American citizens, how we are both at each other and we're not able to talk to each other, and that something has happened that allowed all of these maggots to kind of fester and just stew in their anger and in their vitriol. I'm not talking about elected officials, because those elected officials are horrible. They're
out for power and
they're
greed.
It's just weird, people who are like doubling down just for clicks and likes and shares and all that stuff. Your Nancy Maces of the world, your MTGs, Mike Johnson. What little weird Keebler elf robot is he? I mean, like, I don't know where he came from, but he's like
he's like a robot. You're right.
He is. He's like, there's devoid of any sort of emotion. There's nothing going on there except just like, all right, whatever dear leader says, we'll go along with it.
He's got that fake minister look where he just kind
there is nothing worse to me than the condescending sound of a concerned Christian male.
That's him.
Like, it is the worst tone on the planet.
Yes, condescending is the word for it.
And half the time they don't believe it. If they really were walking the walk that they claim to be doing because of Christianity, because of what Jesus did most of the things the Democrats want to do.
Yep. Help the
poor,
man.
help the fellow, feed the hungry, clothe the naked. Above all, love your neighbor.
Yes.
Like that is what Democrats want to do. But at every turn, they are showing themselves to be nothing but cruel, looking out for the rich. This new big, beautiful bill that snuck through, which, of course, like, if you ever want something to look like it's on the up and up, make sure you schedule a meeting at 1:00 in the morning.
Oh, they're so
Make
diabolical.
sure you do that. So
obviously diabolical.
It's weird. It's like, this is not a very popular thing. You even had, it was what, 215 to 214 with two Republicans?
One vote.
Yeah.
Separated it. They say the Senate's going to cut it up and not accept it as it is. So we can only hope that there'll be some backbone on the part of the Republicans, but they haven't showed it yet, so I'm not convinced. But, the bill is basically a systematic and deliberate annihilation, in my opinion, of groups of people that are not of liking to MAGA. Mm-hmm. Immigrants, trans people, black people, brown people, anybody that isn't white. You are on the hit list here. Mm-hmm. You are on the hit list.
And the sad thing is that... remember, and they're going after Harvard because Ding Dong loves the poorly educated.
Yeah.
That most of the poorly educated people who voted for this person aren't even aware of how much it's going to suck for them.
No, but they're sadly going to find out.
They are going to find out. And that's the thing. I was listening to a bunch of programs this morning, just my Sunday ritual, and it's like they're talking about how, with this new economic vision, you have poor people who are going to be putting more money into the pot and rich people who are just going to be taking the money out of the pot. That's what's happening. And the things that are up for grabs really affect the LGBTQ community. The bill would extend Trump's 2017 tax cuts and deliver billions in new spending for immigration enforcement and the Pentagon. The Congressional Budget Office estimates 13.7 million people will lose health coverage.
Yeah.
13.7 million people.
And according to Mike Johnson, these are people that are gaming the system.
All of them.
Yeah, all of them. All of
them, including the children who get these supports, including the seniors and our elders within the community who get this. Everyone, they're just gaming the system. No,
it's a line of BS, and sadly, the MAGA people just hook, line, and sinker nod and follow it. But they are among those people that will find out the hard way. Scott, I have there's a neighborhood little resale shop. It's adorable, and there's a woman from Ukraine that works there, Tatiana, and we think about a lot. There's so much going on, but we accepted people from Ukraine to come here because they were escaping war, and particularly women and children because the husbands can't leave. And they were given by Joe Biden protections with Medicaid and asylum, and given some benefits because they're here under dire circumstances, and they are so worried right now because she says they're asking us to deport for whatever the $1,000, whatever the money is. She goes, they don't even realize there's no airports. There's no commercial planes. There's no planes flying us. Where am I going to go? Back to the front lines where my house was? This is hundreds of thousands of people that are here because they are escaping the horrible, horrible clutches of war by Putin. And they don't care about them.
Well, what about all the other immigrants from like South America, from Latin America? I mean, the same
from Venezuela,
thing. Venezuela,
the same thing.
Same thing, but because they look different.
They look different. They speak with an accent. They are not.
So do they speak with an accent in Ukraine?
Yeah.
It's the racism is just.
It's so obvious and rampant
everywhere.
and it's sad. It's sad to see this blatant racism on the part of the administration of this country. And I don't know how more people aren't just screaming from the rafters about this.
Well, just about everything.
About everything.
And then, but just to continue on with this Medicaid thing that's happening.
Yeah.
So just hours before the vote, there were two provisions that were aimed squarely at transgender Americans.
Yes.
One stripped all Medicaid and children's health insurance programs, funding for gender-affirming care, including puberty blockers, hormone therapy, and surgeries, not just for youth, but for trans people of any age. And a second one bans coverage for those same services under the Affordable Care Act by excluding them from the definition of essential health benefits. Again, we are making a boogeyman.
Yes.
How much money do you think is spent on the federal level for this? And
Not much.
Particularly like in the military, when they're at 6 times the amount is spent on Viagra.
Yeah.
Gotta make sure we have those.
Gotta make sure we
have
that department.
Make sure we have that. But from the Advocate, this quote about the big beautiful bill. LGBTQ plus people are overrepresented in nearly every program the bill cuts. More than 1 in 5 trans adults rely on Medicaid. The Human Rights Campaign notes that roughly 25% of LGBTQ plus adults live in poverty, compared to 16% of straight cisgender adults. LGBTQ plus people also face higher rates of food insecurity and homelessness, while facing being targeted by state-level bans on healthcare, books, and speech. So, this is the time. We've just got to stay vigilant. We have to keep making sounds. We still have to keep making our voices heard.
It's unacceptable.
It is.
In every level. Every level.
Yeah. And we have to do something. I'm not sure what it is, but we have to do something.
On June 14th, there's going to be mass
June 14th mass protests.
Protests all over the country. It's Dear Leader's birthday. It's Flag Day. It's the day he's threatening to have this military parade in honor of himself.
Didn't they scrap that?
I
thought they officially scrapped
God,
that.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
I hope so too.
But we can.
Nothing
we'll
would
have our
surprise me
research
with
department
them.
check that out.
Yes, we will.
But in the meantime, why don't we go to the phones? And hey, Devin, why don't we go to the phones and check in with Nick on the Northwest Side? Nick, welcome. You're on Out Chicago.
Yeah, thank you. You have a nice show. I like listening to it, catching it once in a while. I jump around on different stations, keep myself well-rounded and intelligent and educated.
Oh, well, thank you so much,
Thanks
Nick.
for tuning in.
Thanks for doing the hard work.
No, okay, yeah. But I was going to say, of course, this holiday coming up, it's for those who died in the wars, which gave us the right to speak what we want to speak, you guys there on the radio about your particular political leanings or sexual orientation, whatever, and other people with theirs. People have to understand that it's not just one side doing it and accusing the other one of being evil or wrong. Maybe somebody individually is an evil and bad person. But and then I was saying, to get over to a lighter subject, I'm really looking forward this warmer weather whenever it gets warmer. And we know in Chicago, one day it'll be like, boom, 95 degrees and high humidity. But getting over that Windy City Suites, I heard it advertised on the Art and Bobby show on Saturdays at 10 a.m.
Oh, great.
And I'm so looking forward to it. It's on 3308 North Broadway. Yep. I say that voluntarily. I have no deal with them to give me anything, even though if they do, I'll take it.
An extra scoop for you.
There you go.
I'm from Chicago.
An extra scoop of lemon cheesecake ice cream.
Salted caramel pretzel.
Well, I love I love peanut butter and chocolate ice cream. The way I like my ice cream on a hot day is get it in a cup, get a spoon. Like at Dunkin' Donuts at the, what do they call it, Baskin Robbins next door. Some of them have the ice cream place. But I tell them, give me the lid separate because I don't want to put it on yet because sometimes I'll be waiting for a bus. And then I eat the top part so the lid on top doesn't stick to it. So when I take it off, the lid won't be all drippy and all over.
All right. Got a plan there, Nick. I can tell.
Anyhow,
Nick is a man with a plan.
I'm an expert. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to hitting Windy City Sweet.
Excellent. Salted caramel toffee pretzel.
Yes, and the lemon cheesecake. Lemon cheesecake.
Yeah.
All right, Nick. Well, thank you for calling.
Thank you, Nick. We appreciate it.
Have a meaningful Memorial Day and enjoy that lemon cheesecake ice cream. There we are. And let's also not forget, Nick brought up a really great point in terms of why why we celebrate this day. People have died defending this country and fought for us to have the rights that we enjoy and that are they hopefully not slipping away.
Free speech being one of them.
And we have to remember about free speech. Yes, of course, we can. Free speech is on all sides. People are able to say whatever they want to say. But also remember that free speech is not without consequences. So if you are saying things that are hateful and incorrect, that are filled with lies, there are consequences. But we do support everybody having the right to say what they need to say.
Amen to that.
Amen to that. So we need to take a quick break because when we come back, we're going to be speaking with people who, speaking of people who need to say what they need to say, Windy City Times, Chicago's LGBTQ plus newspaper and media company, is turning 40 this year. There's amazing. A brand new exhibition at the Gerber Hart Library and Archives, and we're going to be chatting with the owner and co-founder of Windy City Times, Tracy Baim, right after the break. So please stick around. You're listening to Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
The Rick Smith Show.
These are the people that we've handed the keys to the kingdom. These are the people that we've said, go ahead, run the country. So are we surprised when we said that they're going to run it into the ground? No, you could go, Rick, you've been saying this is all planned, and I think it is. I think the chaos is plotted. I think they know, as long as there's chaos, we can then do the real goal, which is breaking the federal government and stealing from we the taxpayers.
The Rick Smith Show, weeknights at 7 on WCPT 820.
If you're an experienced homeowner who's outlived your assets or your spouse recently passed away, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local reverse mortgage lender. Alice, 90, widow, income $24,000 a year, living in a $500,000 home with no mortgage. Alice's husband recently passed away and she was terrified about losing her home, so her daughter called for information about a reverse mortgage. We helped Alice secure a reverse mortgage, which allowed her to access $300,000 tax-free dollars so she could afford in-home health care. Let's review. Alice's husband recently passed away. She outlived her assets and thought she had to sell her home. Our reverse mortgage expert, Jose Rodriguez, helped Alice secure a reverse mortgage so she could afford in-home health care and peacefully age in place. Team Hochberg's helped thousands of radio listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit that website you know and love, 56david.com, lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061.
Progressive presents Adjusting to the Suburbs. You just bought a home in the suburbs, but no one told you about all the birds, specifically this one, who seems to be calling out Roy. Roy. But who exactly is Roy? And why doesn't he ever respond? Maybe Roy is just bird speak for save with Progressive by bundling your home and auto. I guess until Roy answers, we'll never know. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers.
This is your captain. Better buckle your seatbelts for this one. I saw my passport expired, so I went to Staples, got a passport photo lickety-split. While I was there, I grabbed some tiny travel soap and shampoo. I should have got some from my co-pilot. Just kidding, Brad.
Staples has everything you need to travel. 10-minute passport photos, luggage, headphones, even personal travel items. And now at Staples, get 20% off your in-store purchase when you buy any travel service. Plus, 80-count Lysol wipes are just $1.99. Get all set to jet at Staples. Offers end 4/8. In-store only. Exclusions apply.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
I'm Jay Nair with Tricone Chicago. Welcome back to Out Chicago on WCPT.
And welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ella Miller, rolling along. And we are super duper excited because the Gerber Hart Library is opening the exhibit Windy City Times at 40. Breaking news, breaking silence. It looks back at 40 years of Windy City Times, Chicago's LGBTQ plus newspaper and media company. And joining us now is owner and co-founder Tracy Baim. Tracy, welcome back to the show and congratulations.
Thank you very much. I feel very old right now, but it's great to be back on the show.
Well, we're so happy and grateful that you're back on the show. Putting together the exhibit, it must have been an emotional experience. What stands out over the 40 years of Windy City Times? I can't even wrap my brain around that, too.
I know. I think some of the, it's funny about black and white photography is that it's really its own indicator of time. Like looking at a black and white photograph, even current, you almost have a nostalgia just for that. It feels like a more defined moment in history that way. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but
no, I get you. There's like an instant sense of nostalgia.
Yeah, and in the 1980s, going through what we had done, I guess over the last really 5 or more years, we've been slowly digitizing our old archives, the physical papers, but also negatives that had never been seen before.
Oh, wow.
Back in the day, what would happen is we would shoot 5, 10, probably 30 rolls at the March on Washington in 1987. We had like 6 or 7 photographers with our regular old cameras, my Pentax handy with me, and we then developed those negatives back home, and then we ran maybe 15, 20 photos, right?
Right.
And there were hundreds and hundreds of photos that no one's ever seen in print form. And so we digitized those negatives over the last few years for those and other kinds of events, like the American Foundation for AIDS Research and AIDS Foundation of Chicago had a big benefit the month before in Chicago at the Chicago Theater. It was the biggest AIDS benefit to date at that point in Chicago. And again, maybe we ran 5 photos, but I found all these negatives that we, with Cheetah Rivera and Chili Pepper and Leslie Uggams and Colleen Dewhurst and Angela Lansbury.
Wow.
And so we're going to have some photos up that no one's ever seen in print before, including me until I printed them.
Oh, wow.
It pays to hold on to things, right?
It does. Chicago Public Library has 95% of our archives now, but there were some boxes of negatives we hadn't digitized before we gave them, so I'm still working on those. So that was kind of the last gap, was these 1980s big events where we'd taken dozens of rolls of film. And so that's some of it. And then, of course, there's the covers of Windy City Times, Outlines, Black Lines, and Levita Night Spots. We have selected covers from all of those and a few, like, individual pictures more recently, and then some ephemera, like my Pentax camera from 1987.
Oh, wow.
In my flash. Yeah. So it's even a Rolodex. There's a Rolodex.
What is a Rolodex?
I still have mine.
It's very funny. It's like where you put your index cards of people's phone numbers and addresses. I know most people younger than you guys and us, me, are definitely going to see a Rolodex for the first time in person.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing! Like you were at the Gerber Hart Library and Archives, and you were actually helping with the installation. Were you able to have like a moment? I know you're still going strong. I don't want to say that oh here we are, but like, were you able to have any big moments of reflection, just to kind of sit back and look like, wow, look what we all did together to bring LGBTQ issues to the fore?
Yeah, I think looking back at those 1980s headlines in this moment in history in 2025 almost resonates more than it might have 5 years ago for me, because some of the fights in the streets and against the government, ignoring AIDS and ignoring gay rights back then are obviously very relevant today, especially for the trans community. So to me, it shows that we can fight together. We also fight each other. Shows that too, but it shows that we can fight the outside world as well and get those victories one at a time. So I think it does give a perspective for our movement. for younger people that might see these headlines and see what we went against. And the joy, right? There was a lot of joy as well, especially Night Spots covers are full of joy.
Right.
and raunchiness and everything else. So I feel like it gives a nice taste because the room is only like 20 by 30, but we have over, 200 pieces of information, whether it's a cover or a photo or a button, that kind of gives you a slice of the last 40 years of the movement. And on Friday, unfortunately, the opening is sold out, but it's up for 6 months. So we'll have other programs there. We've talked to Alma, for example, to do a program on En La Vida, the publication we did in the 90s with Black Lines. So we'll do some special programming over the next 6 months. And the big 40th anniversary party is September 25th at Sidetrack. So we'll be able to fit more people there than we could fit for the opening at Gerber Hart.
Trace, do you find that younger people are interested in the history, or is it like pulling teeth to get them to come? Hopefully it's the former, but just wondering what your vibe
I
is.
actually find that some of our the people that freelance and write for us, as well as the people I meet when I speak at high schools and colleges, are hungry for this information.
Good.
To give a sense of history. And not only that, they really appreciate the physicality of newspapers in a way that's almost like albums, vinyl. I hear from a lot of my 20-something friends and colleagues that they actually have a really great appreciation for the mediums of these media, right? So they're not necessarily collecting newspapers in physical form, but they like to see them digitized the way that they were curated back then, with all the ads and the photos and everything together. So I have exciting news to report to you that since we have digitized the full runs of Black Lines and La Vida outlines in the first 15 years of Windy City Times, at the September 25th event, people are going to actually be able to own their own history by buying their various ticket levels will come with a hard drive with these digitized archives on them.
Oh, wow.
Because we want to disseminate our history in ways that they can't shut it down from the internet, that people actually, the campaign's going to be called Own Your History. So we don't want to kill more trees, but we do want to show that these artifacts are actually so relevant today, and it's not something that's getting taught in most schools. So it's going to be kind of a fun project over the next couple of years for people to be able to actually buy the complete set of these publications and literally own them, to use them for research, to use them for fun, look at their grandparents marching in the street.
Right.
The pioneers of the movement, yes.
Wow. Wow, that is a brilliant idea, Tracy
awesome.
Baim.
It's encouraging to hear that young people really care too. I mean,
Yeah, Lou Calzado, who edits and writes the new En La Vida monthly newsletter that Windy City Times is doing, was digging through those archives and is just fascinated by it. And they said their friends love to have these physical things in front of them to represent that history.
Oh,
that is amazing, because I'm often, sometimes puzzled. This was a couple of years ago, but when people just didn't have it, like they had no idea what the AIDS epidemic and crisis really was like, or just exactly the struggles that the LGBTQ plus community has endured, and now.
Scott, even in my 20s. When I was in my 20s and being very precocious and caring about all this, only maybe 5 or 10% of my peers cared about what happened in the 60s or the 50s.
Right.
So I don't think we need everybody to. I think if 5 or 10% of any community makes sure that its legacy gets continued and its history remembered, we're in good shape. We're in really good shape. So I'm definitely heartened. I feel like because the internet actually makes history closer to them, even though it also makes artificial history and fake history also available, but the real history is there to find on these great archives. So I do think that LGBTQ history in particular, because the next generation is significantly percentage-wise coming out earlier and more.
Yes.
50% of the under 25s are identifying as not straight cisgender, right? And so where are they getting that story, right? It's up to us to make sure they know where to find it, to give them the breadcrumbs. Yeah. And I think they are hungry for it. They want to see their trans pioneers, their non-binary pioneers, not just the same ones that the 5 that always get mentioned, but the thousands that you can dig up in places like the new Alphawood, the Wrightwood Gallery exhibit, homosexuals. Those are things I think the younger generation would be. If we got to get it to them, right? We got to make sure they know about it.
Yeah, we got to get to them with the info so that they can check it out. And that's why we're here today, one of the reasons, of course. Great work as always, Tracy. It's so important. And, you know, we talk about people in this country, as you mentioned, you know, we're getting all kinds of information and so much of it is false. How important it is to really educate people on the true history of the struggle of, you know, whether that be African Americans, LGBTQ people, Native Americans. You know, we can't lose it. It's key to going forward. So I really appreciate your efforts here.
Yeah, it's even worse than it used to be, because before they just ignored us. Now they're suppressing us. Now they're suppressing it.
Yes.
They're actually trying to say slavery didn't exist, the Holocaust didn't exist.
Right.
They're actually trying to take books out of schools that are telling the truth. It is much more proactive than it's ever been before. And it's just really scary, because they have the ability to push a button and eliminate a movement.
Yeah. Well, which is why we are very fortunate that we have Windy City Times for the 40 years that we have, and still going. It's still going strong. But Windy City Times at 40, breaking news, breaking silence, opens on May 30th. That is the opening night. As Tracy said, it is sold out, but the show will remain up for another 6 months. To go find out the more information and to find out hours, go to GerberHart.org, and that's HART for that. Tracy Baim, thank you for taking time out of your incredibly busy schedule to join us here today, and congratulations on a year of celebrations coming up for Windy City Times at 40.
Thanks, Scott Ellen. Always great to be on.
And always great to have you, Tracy. Thanks for the great work. See you soon.
Thank you. And we've got to take a quick break, and when we come back, it is the second hour about Chicago right here on WCPT.
The Sports Cubicle. We have a two-time national champion, head coach of the North Central Football Cardinals. It's Brad Spencer joining the Sports Cubicle today.
How much do you have to live in the world of the transfer portal?
If you look at what's going on, so much of college football at the higher levels particularly has become transactional, and we want to stay transformational. It's always been about being an all-American father, husband, and teammate.
The Sports Cubicle, Sunday nights, 9 p.m. on WCPT.
You've always wanted to drive a Porsche. What are you waiting for? Find your new Porsche at the Porsche Exchange in Highland Park. Browse and test drive our selection of pre-tariff cars ready for immediate delivery, like the 2025 Porsche Cayenne. And right now, lease the 2025 Macan Electric for only $9.99 a month for 39 months. Shop electric Porsche models and more by visiting the Porsche Exchange in Highland Park or PorscheExchange.com. $8,999 to signing. Excludes tax, title, license, and doc fee. No security deposit required. Expires 6/2/25.
When I'm in the car, I'm always listening.
Driving it home with Patty Vasquez. Patty Vasquez. Weeknights 5 to 7 on WCPT 820.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Carton. The Senate is now set to take up President Trump's so-called Big Beautiful Bill after the House narrowly passed the massive spending and tax cut measure by a single vote. Senate Republicans have promised to make changes to the bill, but House Speaker Mike Johnson tells CNN's State of the Union that would be a bad idea.
I have a very delicate balance here, a very delicate equilibrium that we've reached over a long period of time, and it's best not to meddle with it too much.
Johnson says he takes issue with a Congressional Budget Office estimate that almost 8 million Americans will eventually lose their health care coverage because of cuts to Medicaid. He contends that many of those are illegal immigrants or able-bodied young men who refuse to work, and that they're committing fraud by enrolling in Medicaid. Today marks the 5th anniversary of the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis. Michael Kastner has more.
Officer Derek Chauvin killed Floyd on May 25, 2020, when he knelt on his neck during a traffic stop.
Restraint.
Video of his death went viral and caused a national uproar over police brutality and racism, resulting in violent protests across the country.
Hands up! Don't shoot!
How long can you be peaceful when your people are dying?
Chauvin was convicted of murdering Floyd and was sentenced to over 20 years in prison. I'm Michael Kastner.
Thousands gathered in St. Peter's Square today to hear Pope Leo XIV deliver his first Sunday address from the window of the papal apartments. He thanked the crowd for their demonstration of affection and asked for prayer, saying, quote, "I am still at the beginning of my ministry among you. It's the first time in a decade since apartments have been occupied." Former President Joe Biden made his first public appearance at his grandson's graduation since being diagnosed with prostate cancer. You're listening to the latest on NBC News Radio.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
When you leave the office, catch up on what you missed on the way home with Patty Vasquez. Weekday afternoons from 5 to 7.
Because we have so much to talk about every day.
Driving it home with Patty Vasquez.
And as you would imagine, that would mean that folks want to call in and join the conversation.
Only on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk. Choose Views with Richard Chew.
It's taking action that matters. Whether it was 600, 6,000, or 600,000 people out, there's the impact of the voice being heard, but it's also we feeling like I'm not just sitting watching this train go by, this horror show go by, and not doing something. And then when you find that there are more like-minded people than you realize, you understand that there are more of us than there are of them.
Richard Chew, weekday mornings at 6 on WCPT 820.
Save big on everything for your next project at Menards. From hitches to ratchet straps and everything in between, we've got all your hauling needs covered. Tow smarter with a Tow Smart ball mount trailer hitch. It's built with durable steel construction that resists rust and corrosion. On sale now through June 1st. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for more great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
I'd like to welcome you to WCPT AM's Out Chicago. Think of us as Sunday brunch with your gay best friends. Now please welcome your host, Scott Duff.
And welcome back to the second hour of Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ellen Miller.
Indeed.
We're rolling along here. Hey, if you want to give us a text, we would love to hear from you. We like it.
We would love it.
We like texts, so you can text us at the Credo mobile phone and text line.
Yes.
773-763-9278. Credo Mobile, a progressive phone company that is better for all people and the planet. Visit credomobile.com. So happy about that. And hey, we've got a great second hour.
Yes,
lined
we do.
Up for you.
Fantastic.
I know.
In
We're going
fact.
to have a musical guest here.
We love when we have musical guests.
We do. Spencer Tweedy.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be here.
He's going to be here shortly.
He's going to be here shortly
Mm-hmm.
and everything. And right now, y'all, okay, so Memorial Day should be like the unofficial beginning of summer, right?
Yes.
It's kind of like that.
Yes.
Right now, it's Maycember here in Chicago, but we know within our heart that pride is among us. It is happening. It starts next week, and very happy about that because we need pride more than ever this year. And the Lake County Pride Fest, now in its 5th year, is coming up on Saturday, June 14th from 12 to 10 p.m. at the Round Lake Beach Cultural Center and Civic Center. And joining us now is Executive Director for the LGBTQ Center Lake County, Kristal Larson. Kristal, welcome to the show.
Scott, thank you. Ellen, good to be here today. I appreciate that.
Good to have you, Kristal.
Kristal, we're so happy that you're here. We're even happier that you're doing the work out there in Lake County. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about the history and the mission of LGBTQ Center Lake County?
Absolutely. So we were born about 5 years ago out of a need for just, pride events in the Lake County area. We started out in the Waukegan area with our first year. We did a pride drive in the midst of all the pandemic and the shutdown. And the successes from that have led us to grow this into a full-fledged festival that we hold annually the second Saturday in June. We've moved it from Waukegan to a place with a much larger stage and a much larger venue out in Round Lake, a little more centrally located. And, we've gone from, having 20 vendors and a couple of performers to a full 10 hours with 2 stages. We've got more than 120 people out there exhibiting or selling different pride-related things. We've got, drag queens all day long, of course. And then we just have some amazing support from all of our sponsors and volunteers out there helping to, just have a great event for thousands.
Amazing. I'm super excited about this event that's coming up that you've got going on. But I was just wondering, what in general, what's the vibe in Lake County when it comes to the LGBTQ plus community?
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting vibe right now. You know, we've sort of, everybody's been taking a step back across the country, and we're feeling that same thing up here. But, I mean, as far as, like, we see a lot of people embracing our community. We also see a lot of pushback, like we just saw in Deerfield not too long ago.
Right.
So it really is kind of a mixed reaction. We see people emboldened to push back against us. But we've also got tremendous support up here. So we're very fortunate right now.
Kristal, do you get protesters or people, you know, even here in Chicago at the Pride Parade, we get, you know, people that are on opposing sides and it's pretty obnoxious. Do you get any of that, or hopefully you don't?
We haven't had it to this point, but we always prepare for that. And we always work with the host venue to make sure that, you know, protests can be done as respectfully, I guess, as possible.
Right.
You know, we want to make sure everybody's got their right to speak, but we want to have an event that's safe for everybody, an event where people can just be out and celebrate.
Yeah, for sure. And you're close to McHenry County, which we know is a whole nother can of worms out there where they remain kind of MAGA central or focused. But Lake County, thankfully, the last several presidential elections, if I'm not mistaken, have voted for the Democratic candidate. So it is getting friendlier in the outlying suburbs, which is good to hear, of course.
Yeah, I think the majority of our county board and all of our countywide electeds all hail from, you know, a party that's more favorable to our desires and outcomes. Which is really positive to have that up here.
It sure is.
Yeah. Well, you know, since it sounds like the elected officials are trying to create a more welcoming and inclusive environment, what sort of like advocacy groups are up in Lake County?
So we do have like the various political slanted groups, but we've got two amazing PFLAG chapters up here, one in Grays Lake and one in Deerfield, that are out doing the work, and we've been down with Equality Illinois doing some of that work downstate and advocating with our legislators. But then we see all these other independent groups that are out here too, and grassroots groups like Indivisible are out here doing the work as well, and it's just beautiful to see all of us working together.
Excellent.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to ask, so tell us, tell our audience, tell us what is in store for people when they come to the Pride Fest 2025.
So we've got two sets of drag shows. One of them is Auntie Heroine, who is a Dragula Season 6 finalist.
Oh, wow. Okay.
She's coming back to the stage. Yeah. And then, Miss Icon, Carmel Bliss herself will be there for our evening show. Along with a couple of kings as well. We have a drag king coming up from Arkansas. Mr. Trans Arkansas is coming up, and he's going to do a show with us too.
Never enough drag kings, I say. Good for you.
True facts. But we'll get to have some favorites with our food and beverage providers too. So we've got everything from boba and lumpia to tacos and barbecue and everything in between available from our food vendors. And we're going to be doing, for the first time, on-site STI testing, rapid testing for folks.
Oh, great.
Excellent.
In conjunction with our Lake County Health Department. So we're really happy that, we know what's going on with potential cuts to Medicaid and stuff. We want to open those services up as much as we can.
Great. And that's free of charge to people?
Free of charge to people.
Excellent.
That's amazing. So along with the entertainment groups, you have a ton of sponsors and partners for Pride Fest 2025 up in Lake County, which is going to be taking place on June 14th. Do you have any other, along with the STI tastings, that's horrible. The STI testings, sorry, gross. But along with that, do you have any other just community booths that people are, either promoting their bakery or their bookstore? Or do you have any other vendors or people who are just setting up booths just to talk to folks about why this is important to celebrate LGBTQ plus equality in Lake County?
Yeah, so we've got 25 different sponsors that are here, including we're really happy to have both ComEd and Old National Bank back this year again. They've been sponsors for every festival we've had as presenting sponsors. And we're glad to have, Advocate Healthcare, especially at this time, coming out and saying, look, we're still providing. We're still going to be here to connect with y'all.
Good.
So we're glad to have all of those sponsors out this year. We've got a number of area churches that are all open and affirming churches. They've gone through that process to say we welcome everybody here. We affirm everybody here. And just a huge nonprofit community in Lake County. So that people where we don't provide those services directly, a lot of our partners are going to be there as well. 30 or 40 different smaller vendors as well, like from everything from small crafters and Etsy shops to, one of our friends from the McHenry County area, the Flag Store, who, they always bring out all the Pride gear.
And I see there's going to be games and entertainment for kids as well.
Absolutely. We've got bounce houses. Our Scouting America team is going to be helping out with all of that. And we've got a great act for them on the main stage. About 2:00 is Nanny Nikki, who's a Grammy-nominated children's artist and plays at like the Ravinia Festival and a number of other area places.
Nice.
It sounds amazing. And who doesn't love a bouncy house? I'm putting money in for let's get an adult bouncy house.
I'm with you. I see those kids having fun in there, and I always want to get in and mix it up with them. But of course, I don't do that.
I will crush those children. I am a large man. It would be awful.
Mix it up.
So question for you. So is the LGBTQ plus Center Lake County, is that a separate entity, or is your primary function the Pride Fest that happens now in its 5th year?
Yeah, so the Pride Fest is our largest fundraiser of the year, but our LGBTQ Center, we're here providing, we do a lot of peer-led support group type of work. We've been doing a lot of advocacy with our trans community, helping folks get their names changed here in Lake County. We found there wasn't really a good service for that up here, so we've been working with that. We've done 12 this year, and there's more still coming through. And then we know what's coming with, prescription medication access. So we're working on our prescription assistance program for gender-affirming hormone therapy, for access to PrEP and other STI treatments as well.
Great.
Yeah, that's amazing. And especially now, people I don't think they understand the challenges that it happens when it comes to getting your name changed, especially nowadays when you have this whole real ID thing that they're trying to enforce and stuff. So that is such an important, just an important and necessary document to have. So thank you so much for helping folks out, because that's got to be a challenging and nerve-wracking process.
Yeah, it really is. The nerve-wracking part, I think, and navigating a court system, especially when we've got this long history of mistrust with government agencies in our community. Having someone who's comfortable navigating that, having folks who can help people get through not just the court process, but all the follow-ups that go with that, whether it's, driver's license, state IDs, and real IDs, to Social Security, banking agreements, getting your utilities fixed. Or one of the pieces that I was really proud to work on with our Lake County clerk, Anthony Vega, here, was getting some fee waivers for people even on their property deeds when they need to change their names there.
Yeah, we take that for granted, but it's so hard for people that are in the trans community that are trying to just live their lives fully,
Exactly. And, every time we learn about new changes and new problems, we try to find good solutions for folks. And when we can do that, not just here in Lake County, but across the state, all the better.
Absolutely.
So, Kristal, with the LGBTQ plus Center Lake County, how many people do you have on staff? Is it just you? Like, how many folks do you have? And I know there was like a peer-based counseling is what you have. Like, what sort of support do you have as executive director?
So we do have 2 full-time employees and a number of volunteers that help along with our board of directors. And I can't say enough about the work that they put in to help make everything happen, too. So we do have dedicated volunteers. But right now we're 100% privately funded. And we just, in light of what's been going on, we don't see that changing anytime soon. Right. So we're gonna do the most we can with what we've got, and try and make as much impact as we can.
I see there's a $5 donation at the door, but people could always give more, right?
They can always give more, and we never want that to be a barrier. So, for people who can't, we get that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right? Please, we want people to be in community more than we want people to worry about that $5 if they need to.
Right. Well, we hear that, and we also hear the importance of finding community right in these crazy times right now. If you want to be a part of a fabulous community, make sure you check out the Lake County Pride Fest, which is now in its 5th year. It's coming up on Saturday, June 14th from 12 to 10 p.m. at the Round Lake Beach Cultural and Civic Center. To find out more information, go to LGBTQLC.com. It's a lot of letters there. So basically LGBTQ Lake County. See what I'm saying? LC. LGBTQLC.com/PrideFest to find out more information and to hop on over to the Lake County.
Perfect.
There we are. Kristal Larson, thank you so much for joining us today. Enjoy the holiday weekend and enjoy an entire month of Pride. In fact, enjoy an entire year long worth of Pride. And because thank you for all of the incredible work that you were doing in Lake County for all the folks up there.
Scott, Ellen, thanks so much for having me on, and I guess I'm going to see you next week in Buffalo Grove. So until then,
we will be there.
Fantastic. Come up and say hello. We'll be the ones on a float.
It'll be good to see you there. Thank you again so much.
Thank you,
Great Memorial Day weekend.
Have a fabulous Pride Fest, and we'll see you next weekend at the Buffalo Grove Pride Fest. There we go.
Bye-bye.
Pride all
righty. We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we've got Spencer Tweedy. That's my Oprah. Spencer Tweedy.
Come on down.
Going to be joining us in studio, so stick around. You're listening to Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
If cage walls could talk with Jody Whittaker.
Captain Paul Watson is a marine wildlife conservation and environmental activist.
And as his head rose out of the sea and his eye was there right before me, so close I could see my own reflection in that eye. That whale understood what we were trying to do because I could see the effort he made to pull himself back. And instead of crashing forward, he began to slide back to the sea as I disappeared beneath the surface, and he died. He could have killed us and chose not to. So I owe my life to that whale.
If cage walls could talk, Saturdays at 5.
This is a WCPT Civil Rights Snapshot. The COVID-19 pandemic showed the bravery, dedication, and intelligence our doctors and nurses had, regardless of their gender. However, this was not always the case. Back in the 1800s, the idea of a woman doctor was laughable. When Elizabeth Blackwell applied to Geneva Medical College, the students voted on whether or not to accept women into their school. The students agreed to it as a joke, thinking it would be funny to see women fail in their field. Elizabeth felt compelled to become a doctor after a conversation with a dying friend who told her that her ordeal had been that much worse because her physicians were all men. Many of her fellow students and the town shunned her, and one professor tried to scare her out of his class. Regardless, Elizabeth stayed determined and graduated, but after, the dean of her school said he did not wish for more women to enroll. Despite the sexist discrimination, Elizabeth contributed to the first generation of women doctors in America and even opened up her own hospital. And in 2017, for the first time ever, a majority of medical students in the United States were women. Please stay vigilant about our civil rights. The fight is never over.
Chicagoland, are you ready to head up to the northwest suburbs on Sunday, June 1st?
It's the 7th annual family-friendly Buffalo Grove Pride Parade. It all begins at 11 a.m. featuring 100 businesses, organizations, dance teams, musicians, bands, schools, and much more. The parade is geared for the LGBTQ community members and allies of all ages. This year's theme, Pride is Natural, highlights the normalcy of being an LGBTQ family in this time of great distress in our nation.
And this year's Grand Marshals, well, it's us. Yes, WCPT 820's own me, Scott Duff.
And me, Ellen Miller.
We're the hosts of Out Chicago. The Buffalo Grove Pride Parade will feature a special tribute to Balloons by Tommy's Lake Rate owner with an incredible display of rainbow balloons.
The Buffalo Grove Pride Parade, the family-friendly Pride Parade filled with magical giveaways for all, is Sunday, June 1st at 11 a.m.
Information and map can be found at pintoprideproject.com. See you there.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
This is William Lindsay Cochran from the group Great Moments in Vinyl. You're listening to Out Chicago on WCPT.
And welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ella Miller, rolling along, or very, very excited. It's so rare that we get people in the studio.
Ever since COVID. We went to phones, and we kind of never got out of the habit. But whenever there's a musician or an artist that needs to be performing in the studio, we like to try and get them here.
And we do, because we're welcoming right now, we've got Chicago-based musician, writer, and drummer, Spencer Tweedy.
Hello, thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Oh my God,
applause. Move that. I just realized, Anna, you got applause and everything. You can move that microphone so you don't have to hang out over here.
All right.
There you go. Hey, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for stopping by today.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. I know you're getting ready for your first solo set on May 30th, benefiting Brave Space Alliance.
Yeah. I'm primarily a drummer. Probably few listeners, if any, even know that. But I mainly play drums, but I also write songs, and I haven't played a show of my own song since 2020, right before lockdown happened.
Wow.
So this is my first time back.
Okay.
It's a great feeling. Yeah. Well, you were just on the road with Waxahachie.
Yeah.
In fact, his dad's band Wilco was the headliner, and Waxahachie opened up and Grammy nominated.
Yes, yeah.
So you are a Grammy nominated artist, my friend.
Technically, yeah.
Yes, because they're a newer band, but they're getting people are raving about them. Tell us a little bit about that project too.
Yeah, Waxahachie is a band led by a singer-songwriter named Katie Crutchfield, and I played drums on her most recent record, Tiger's Blood, which came out in 2024. And we've been touring on the road for the past year and a half or so. And she's an incredible songwriter. People are really into that record. Critically acclaimed. I'm just really happy to be part of that record.
Yeah, and tell us how it came about, because she's not local here.
It came about because it kind of begins with Chicago hero Mavis Staples, with whom my dad has made a couple of or 3 records, and I've played on 2 of those. And Katie, aka Waxahachie's producer, Brad Cook, had heard those records, liked the
how could he not, for great records.
Drumming for, we call Mavis my grandma because she's kindly adopted my mom into her,
yes.
as her
loves you and
honorary daughter.
Yes, and Sammy. Yes.
Yeah, and so they because of that they invited me to work on their record.
See, it all comes back to Chicago and Mavis Staples.
Yeah,
all roads lead back to Mavis Staples.
Yes.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, it
As
doesn't.
they should.
It doesn't surprise me you're doing something for Brave Space Alliance. You're a social warrior. I got to know Spencer through the Tweedy show, which his mom, Susan, who I've known for many, many years, long before Spencer was born.
There we go.
She would film it on her camera, and Jeff and Sammy and Spencer would just go about their, kind of sharing their lives and sharing music and sharing the thoughts that we all had going through our heads during COVID and the Trump administration, and being very vocal and outspoken and supportive for those of us that needed to hear. When you're isolated at home, it was just such a horrible feeling. And you guys really were I've told Spencer this on several occasions, but you were my lifeline to music, to people that I could relate to, that are on the same page as we are here at WCPT. And I can't tell you, Kathy be like, you're going to yes, Jeff said this, Spencer. I was like quoting you guys because we didn't have that. We didn't have the community. We weren't. The shows were locked down, and I know you guys just did it as let's try it. And they did it like for the first year, almost every night.
It was almost every single night.
And I'm like, oh my God! But it was like something that I looked forward to, and I sometimes I would get the computer out the next day because you could go back to it on Instagram,
right?
And I would play along to the songs because it's some of my very favorite music. They love Bob Dylan, they love Neil Young, they do Wilco. But it doesn't surprise me that you're a social warrior, because the very first time I met you, you were an infant in a baby stroller at the Halstead Street Market days.
Oh,
Your
my
mom and
God.
dad were strolling through back in the several years ago.
Mid-90s.
And there you were at this very LGBTQ plus friendly event as a little child, so you come about it honestly.
Definitely.
Yeah, I know you won't remember that moment, but I do remember it. But your parents, I'm sure, have been a great influence on your social activism. And is that what you mainly attributed to? You also, I think, went to Montessori school.
Yeah.
How did those influences make you the social warrior you are today?
Well, I don't know if I can fully pick up that mantle because, these days all I'm really doing is playing music, which I know is part of helping, part of what we do, but not much activism beyond that. But yeah, I think it absolutely comes from a general feeling of there's no way to be other than trying to help someone. It's almost as if there's not really a point to life if you're not doing that. And my family, it's a matter of course for my family.
It is, and it's a beautiful thing, and we appreciate you and the whole family and it is important music. You have a platform. Look at what Bruce Springsteen did last week.
Yeah.
Yes, it got the ire of
clearly spoken,
but clearly spoken, and just we need that.
Absolutely.
It's even though don't say just music because that's how you reach people. You have a voice and you have a megaphone when you're a musician that people really love and appreciate.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I saw what Neil Young said after Bruce spoke out, and he said, the president's problem is you care about what a musician would say, which I thought was an interesting intellectual judo move on that. Right. and I'm inclined to agree. It's a tough thing. On one hand, people say shut up and play, and I don't agree with that. And on another hand, people say you always have to speak, and sometimes your speaking is the music. So yeah, I don't think everyone has to I don't think Bruce needs to comment on absolutely everything, but I'm really glad he did about this.
I am too.
About this large thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Large thing. Speaking of music, would you like to favor us with a tune?
Yeah, sure. Oh my goodness, I haven't done this in a while.
This is good. This is good. This is good because you got the show on Friday, and
yeah. Do you want me just in front of this microphone?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe just
It'll
like this.
pick it up. It'll pick up the guitar. And
all right.
So tell us a little bit about what this song's going to be.
It's kind of a funny title. It's called Ground Shipping.
Oh.
Okay.
And the recorded version has strings on it, like violin and stuff, but this is just going to be me and a guitar.
Got it. I'm ready for it.
All right. Take a headphone off. When you leave, I don't know where you go. If you come back, if you'll ever show. It's something I always think about. How I'd cope with if I could live without. Even when it's happening, feels like it's ending. I leave and bring my body to crowded basements, skyscraper rooms. I wonder how I could be so far and still hear you in my beating heart. Even when it's happening, feels like it's ending.
on, Spencer Tweedy.
Multi-talented.
Come on, drummer.
I don't know.
Come on, drummer, playing a guitar over here.
You can hear that song and others this Friday at
First Church of Chicago on May 30th.
Is that Hyde Park area?
I think so, yeah.
How did were you involved with Brave Space Alliance before, or how did you come to be doing this particular show?
Well, the show's put together by my friend Eli Schmidt, who's a excellent, amazing curator and writer and zine maker. And Eli put the show together with a band from Louisville and my friend Macy Stewart. And it's Eli's doing, so we got to give Eli credit for raising money for
Eli.
Their services.
Yeah, it's one of our favorite. We love Brave Space Alliance.
Oh, they're amazing.
Yeah.
It's an incredible organization.
Yeah, and more important than ever.
Yeah,
yes,
100%.
As we've talked about all day on the show. I don't know if you know, Spencer was in a band at age, what were you, 7 or 8?
Yeah, we started in 2002 when we were 7.
Wait, what? Hold on. Wait, let's go back. Can we go back before 2002?
Sure.
I think you were kind of like, destined to be in music, like when did you, what is your first, your earliest musical memory?
Earliest musical memory?
Yeah.
Playing on the drums in my family's basement.
Okay.
But I have implanted memories earlier than that from seeing photos of myself on those same drums when they were in the basement of my mom's bar in Lincoln Park, Lounge Acts, which closed in 2000. So that's not a real memory, but I can picture it.
There.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were. There's pictures of you like 3 or 4 or something, isn't it? Playing the drums that young?
I was frequently left in the supervision of degenerate rock musicians who would put me on the drum seat, and it's a miracle I didn't fall over.
Right.
Yeah.
So when did you really start playing? I mean, clearly at 7, but I mean before that, because you had a band.
Really 5, I think, is when my dad noticed that I liked drums and bought a children's-sized drum kit that I could play. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, This is a very controversial topic.
No.
Phil Collins.
Thoughts
on Phil Collins?
All right, I have undergone a sea change in my attitude about drummers, all in a whole category like him. I always confuse Phil Collins and Peter Gabriel. Phil is for sure the drummer.
He is for sure the drummer, yes.
All right. I know it's silly, but
no, it's fine. Different generation, but it's cool. I mean, it's a deep cut.
If you'd asked me 10 years ago, I would have been disgusting. I hate it. These days, I have a much greater appreciation for these, these bold, stark, muscular, kind of Mick Fleetwood is in this category, and he's obviously an excellent drummer.
Yes,
but there's this showy, sometimes gratuitous style, tapping cymbals, but as I've gotten older, I've appreciated how simple and strong this playing is, and it's totally appropriate, and so I'm up for it.
Okay,
I'm down with it. Yeah.
Cool. I love that we had a full circle journey moment with you, because for me, I still get a little sad that somewhere someone is enjoying a Phil Collins song. I don't know why. I don't know why.
You don't want them to.
I don't. Well,
I've never. If it makes you feel better, I've never listened to a Phil Collins LP. I've never put one on.
Well,
check out Abacab.
Can I still be on your side?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Check out
Abacab.
No,
but also, I joke too because
sure.
No jacket required.
That one too.
That was a huge.
Abacab was mine because
that's Genesis, though, isn't it? Or is
but
that
he
Phil?
was he took over when Peter Gabriel left. He became the lead singer of Genesis.
Right. No, I know.
So Abacab is whatever.
It depends if you want Genesis, Phil Collins, or solo act Phil Collins.
Okay.
There we are. That's where the big divide is.
Sure.
It's we're a controversial show here, Spencer.
Yeah, hard hitting.
It's hard hitting questions. I know. There we are. So where, aside from your family, and where do you draw inspiration?
Books. I love. I like reading books, other people's records. I love walking. I love walking and seeing things. Then I was going to say in people's windows, but that sounds really problematic.
I do the same thing.
Yeah, I mean on the outside of the window. Yeah.
Look, I'm sorry if I walk in my dog at night and your light's on,
I'm looking.
and you don't have curtains, I'm looking in. I'm looking in.
You can't help having eyeballs.
I know, right? It happened.
Yeah, and the internet. I mean, I love reading people's blogs. I'm a big blog man.
Okay.
People's newsletters, and there's so much great writing. Sometimes, you have to force yourself to get off and get back into a paperback book or something. But there's a lot out there. There's a lot out there. Did you know that on the internet?
There's the internet. It's one or two things.
Yeah.
There are a couple things out there of note.
Yes.
A lot of stuff that's also.
Yeah.
Any artists that you've come across recently that you found interesting that you want to share with us? Any musicians or writers? But
well, I just finally, like years late, checked out the records from Water From Your Eyes, which is a duo from Brooklyn. Really, really interesting, creative music.
I'm writing it down because your taste is always what I like. So, okay. Water From
Your Eyes. Yeah, and I was just listening to the new record from a band called Friendship, which is from Philadelphia, and so far liking it. It's really those friendly people, and it's a very alive sounding recording. That's kind of what I'm most interested in these days, is music that sounds like people
actually playing,
making it together. Yeah, not in any sort of purist way, but it just seems to be so much more exciting.
Yeah, and speaking of people, who are in your band? What's the lineup? What musicians and what instruments do you have?
My band this time for this coming Friday is Tori P. Lopez, who was in the Blisters, or is in the Blisters. We're not super active, but that's the band that we founded when we were 7 years old.
Yes, indeed.
Julia Steiner from Rat Boys, who maybe you've seen.
I have seen
Chicago staples and rock band.
Yeah.
And my friend Chet Zener, who has a band called Lucky Cloud, and he's easily one of my favorite guitar players in the world. He's like, people are just barely starting to catch on to how supremely talented he is, and he'll be playing electric guitar with me.
Beautiful. No harmonica players?
No harmonica
Not
this time.
yet.
I tried.
Not yet.
I tried to get this wonderful accordion player, Mabel Kwan, to play the show, but she was unavailable. Maybe one day accordion, maybe one day harmonica.
Yeah, I mean, accordion and harmonica are, as you know, are symbiotic. They're very similar. They invented the harmonica because they invented it in Germany to play German polka music because it was a lot easier to carry a harmonica around than
They're tired of schlepping the accordion.
Yeah, so they sound a lot alike. In fact, I play with Zydeco guys in Lafayette because our instruments sound so great together.
Yeah.
The accordion and the I used to play with,
Did you know I ran into Ellen on the street in New Orleans last month?
That does not surprise me at all. If I'm in New Orleans, I plan to run into Ellen on the streets.
It was great to see it. A great bar called Vaughn's that I go to every year, and a band called the Iguanas that were very popular here in Chicago because so many of us from New Orleans, when I worked at XRT, you got to play the Iguanas because we all went to Jazz Fest, and they have a great following here, and they're great guys. They don't get together and play a lot, but they, Spencer and several of the Waxahachie band members showed up, and I was like, Spencer, it's always great to see friends from home.
Yeah.
Looks like you enjoyed yourself that night there too.
Definitely, we had a great time.
Yeah. It's how can you not? There's nothing like New Orleans, right?
It feels like a dream.
Yeah.
The whole city feels like a dream if you come from anywhere, but especially coming from Chicago. I feel like we're pretty liberated here, but there's a special kind of free feeling when you can stand on the street. It's not all about alcohol, but you can have a beer on the street
and etc.
And you run into people you like, and it's lovely.
There's a magic there that it's not found anywhere else. As much as I love my own city.
Yeah.
Do we have time for?
We should probably.
Take a break
can you stick around for a little bit?
Oh sure, yeah.
Oh my gosh, amazing!
I don't have any more songs to play. Unless you really need me to.
Look, we don't need to. Come on, we can't give away the store right now. We got a show coming up on May 30th. We can't give away the store, but we do need to take a break. And when we come back, it is the final thrilling, show-stopping moments about Chicago with Spencer Tweedy right now. So stick around. You're listening to Out Chicago on WCPT, Heartland Signal.
The Big Picture with Edwin Eisendrath, Saturdays at 1 p.m.
We had a call on this show. A black woman who called in to say that the pre-election finger pointing at black voters was wrong, that she and her community showed up And she then asked, with real agony and some anger in her voice, where were the rest of us? She felt betrayed. Boy, I understand those feelings.
The Big Picture with Edwin Eisendrath. Saturdays at 1 p.m.
Is your upper floor too hot in the summer? Are energy bills climbing with every degree? Green Attic can help. With over 15 years of experience and more than 1,000 five-star reviews, Green Attic is a trusted Chicagoland name for insulation, ventilation, and roofing solutions that improve comfort, energy efficiency, and indoor air quality. They specialize in attic insulation, spray foam, crawl space encapsulation, mold remediation, and solar attic fan installation, all designed to keep your home cooler in the warmer months. Green Attic also offers full-service roofing through Green Attic Roofing, including traditional and solar roofing systems with instant online quotes and long-lasting, eco-friendly materials. Green Attic backs its work with the industry's only 10-year labor warranty, plus lifetime warranties on selected materials. Schedule a free installation consultation at greenattic.com or get an instant roofing quote at greenatticroofing.com. That's greenattic.com and greenatticroofing.com.
Because facts matter. You're listening to WCPT 820.
Hi, this is Renee Taylor. You're listening to Out Chicago, WCPT 820.
And welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff.
We always smile with Renee Taylor.
Every time Renee Taylor comes. Did you ever watch The Nanny?
No.
Okay.
She's an actor, an older woman. She was on the show a few years ago, and
she did a 90-minute one-woman show at age 83.
Yeah,
I think she
over
was
at the North Shore Performing Arts Center in Skokie.
Wow.
And she
Check
said,
out The Nanny.
She said, the F Trump on the air. And it was like, yeah, it was great.
She's delightful.
Thank you. We can't do that, but thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That's
of course,
why we love
of course.
her.
And of course, that voice you hear is Spencer Tweedy. He is going to be a part of a show that's happening at the First Church of Chicago on May 30th. It's going to be benefiting Brave Space Alliance, which if you listen to our show, you know that it is a Black-led, trans-led LGBTQ center on the south side of Chicago. Shannon Lynn Parker has been on the show all the time, a lot. She's been at the fore of all of this activism. How can folks get tickets to come and check this out?
The show is so punk rock. You can't buy tickets in advance. You just have to show up.
I love it.
But don't worry about it. It's there will be
there will be room.
Just come on down.
All right,
if you want to.
Down. Yeah. Well, no, I think you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on down.
And it's Friday. Do you know the start
May
time?
30th at like 8 o'clock.
Okay.
Let's call it 8 o'clock.
All right, let's call it 8 o'clock.
That's rock and roll time. Nothing happens before 8 o'clock.
No, I was going to think like it starts at 11, and I'm like, wait, hold up. Nope, time's out.
That's New Orleans.
Even 30-year-olds are not down with that anymore.
Oh, yeah.
I know. It's like I was in New York last week, and I'm looking around for music, and I'm like, everybody goes, it's not like I couldn't even hear because I hadn't been there since before COVID.
Yeah.
We got to get people back up to their late night. In New Orleans, it hasn't stopped. The shows literally during Jazz Fest, I'm not exaggerating, several shows start at 1 a.m.
Oh, yeah. No, of
1
course.
a.m. And I was at them.
I got an angry email from a fan a few years ago who had been trying to come see me and my dad play at Metro, and the show was, we played at 9, and so we were finished by a little after 10, and I got an email that said, I showed up at the box office at 10, and everyone was gone. And I was like, yeah, man,
Wrong
the show
era.
was at 9.
Yeah.
So weird. I wonder why that's happening.
Well, ever since COVID, people just got into habits of just not going out. I mean, I noticed that's when it started then. I mean, so many late night restaurants that were 24-hour, the El Presidente on Ashland that used to be for years.
Yeah.
The minute they tasted having shorter hours, they said, I don't want to live like this. I don't want to work all night long. And people changed their habits. I personally have not changed mine, but that hasn't changed the world because we're trying one venue at a time. But that's why I love New Orleans because, hey, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock.
Tough, you got something to do. Chicago used to be like that in the 90s, too, like with all the late night theater that was going on around
New
and
York,
everything.
It's a phenomenon everywhere. And like everything is cyclical. Hopefully it'll come back.
Totally. I'm all for, enhancing sleep
Yes.
Right.
getting more of it. I'm not
Yes.
very good at it,
Yeah,
but if
me too.
playing a little bit earlier helps.
And sometimes I don't mind, getting. It's something like, oh, it show's over at 10, and I feel like I better go do something else though afterwards.
Yeah,
'cause
totally.
You're all fired up. Right?
Yeah, second location.
Yeah. There's always that.
Okay, so we've covered the very controversial topic of Phil Collins. And we know that some of your inspirations come from books.
Shocking.
Shocking, I know.
Yeah.
Thank
Lots
goodness.
of books. He's even written a book.
Oh
You
yeah.
have? What's your book?
Well,
what?
It's a picture book.
That counts.
Yeah, how many books have you written? I've written none.
It's called Mirror Sound. It's about musicians who produce their own records at home. So it's a coffee table book with my friend Daniel Topete, who's a photographer, and Lawrence Azarod, who's a music graphic designer, and I wrote the words around the pictures, and it just I interviewed like 24 musicians who make music that way, because I think that music that people make at home tends to sound different. It's just its own thing.
Yeah.
When they play every instrument by themselves, it tends to get glued together in this really interesting way, like Paul McCartney's solo records or something like that.
Or Prince.
Or Prince, right.
Yeah.
So it's like you hear their DNA in every single aspect of the thing, and I'm really, really interested in that, so we made a book about it.
So it's a book of photographs, or
It's photos and text.
And, okay.
I sold it a little short.
I know,
calling
like it's a picture book, and I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, it's like
It's coffee table
me and my
size,
monkey
but it's
that-
got tons of interviews and text in it, and essays by me.
So when you record, like when you are you working on a new project right now? When you go record, what is your process like? Because I know I come from the theater world, come from the comedy world. I understand that.
Yeah.
Creating, I'm always in awe of anybody who can create music out of nothing, because that's just a whole other language.
Yeah.
So what is your process like?
Well, you're coming in with a song that you probably stumbled upon, or the beginnings of which you stumbled upon when you were just playing guitar a little bit absent-mindedly.
Yeah.
Freely enough to accidentally hear
Hit it.
something
Yeah.
and something you like. So you've already done that, and then you're playing, usually for me, recording that guitar part by myself along with a metronome or just straight into a microphone, and then you build instrument by instrument. You might put bass guitar on it after that, or drums, or record a vocal or a keyboard, and it's a really fun way to build things up. I think the most fun way, though, is still just the original, tried and true, you and four of your friends in a room responding to each other, like we were talking about a minute ago. I think that leads to moments that feel I have to use the word magical. Moments
of course.
that feel
It's
like you would feel on the stage, on the theater stage or something.
Yeah. Well, and it's they always talk about like genius, but genius isn't like a constant state of being. Genius visits people and then goes away.
To learn to harness it.
And to have those moments. Well, not even just like to respect the moment that when that spark when you're collaborating with other artists and other humans, that you're like, oh, this is magic. And then the genius goes away. But
Something that was impossible even 5 seconds later.
Yeah.
It was only possible then,
I just, look, this is why we need art. This is why we need artists out in the world to, celebrate work. It can be such a lonely experience, but can it also be such a communal experience to come together to express ideas, thoughts, emotions. And love it.
And speaking of books, his dad, Jeff Tweedy, wrote a book called How to Write One Song.
Yeah.
And it's great for anybody that's creative, whether you want to write a song, you want to write a poem, you want to keep your journal or whatever it is. And, simple things like if you have an iPhone, going to your memo, because I'm a walker as well. I do walk. I walk about 3 miles a few times a day, and I get inspired like you do. And I sometimes I get a song lyric or I get a melody in my head, and Jeff's reminding me from that book, go to your memo and sing it into it.
Yeah.
Right, sing it into it, because it is gone. I mean, you think you're going to remember and write it down later, and it's different. It changes. So, you just have to kind of learn to to take that genius and embrace it and not let it go away. Those moments, right?
Definitely. I'm a big fan of notebooks. I'm a notebook realist in the sense that you got to admit to yourself that you're never going to look at 99% of what went onto the page, but that's okay. it's still worth getting
writing
down.
it down just helps the process. The fact that you've written it down.
Totally.
Totally.
No, I get that. I mean, it's the same thing with like comedy where something's like, oh, this is funny or this is odd or moment. Like, talk about.
That accumulation moment by moment or day by day, I think is definitely the not so dirty secret about how people produce stuff, because sometimes people would see somebody who has a whole bunch of songs or whatever, and they think, how did you do that? You must be, in the chair 8 hours a day. And it's like, I just write it down every time it comes up. And over 50 days, that's, there's some stuff to work with.
Yeah, that's exactly. I mean, it's a process, and you got to embrace it, because creativity, our brains are, there's a lot going on. So,
there is, So for the show that's coming up on May 30th at the First Church of Chicago, are these all debut songs that are happening? Or are you pulling out some?
I'm playing 2 songs that are released, that are out there on my, on streaming platforms, and then I'm going to play a handful others that I've never played before. So that's why I'm so sheepishly unable to give you more.
I get it. Like I said, you can't give away the store. How do you feel about that? Because it always feels to me what I imagine like giving birth. It's like we're crowning. It's right here.
It's so
like,
hard. It's equally as hard as that.
Well, no, but you know what I mean. Like there's some it is your darling. They're your babies, and it's like, and it comes from you. There's something very vulnerable about that moment. Even for somebody as like talented and as established as you are.
Sure. Yeah. Well, it's definitely out of my comfort zone. I'm usually behind a drum. Well, I will be playing drums. I'm gonna, I have other people playing guitar. So it's a bit out of the comfort zone in that way. But yeah, I mean, even just now playing that song in the studio, it's hard not to cry. The song's not that sad.
Right.
But it makes me feel like crying. It's and not just because, I know my dad feels that way too. Certain lines, certain songs, it's an intense thing.
They're real.
Yeah. And, but I guess my main way of dealing with what the vulnerability and the feeling you're describing is just having people I trust in the group and being excited to hear what they do.
Yeah. Amazing.
And you've surrounded yourself with some great musicians.
Definitely. Chicago is rich in musical talent. It's old news, but
do you feel people are coming back here a little bit more, moving here? I mean, I know there's times it seems like people went to Nashville. A lot of people went to LA, of course, always have. But it feels to me like people are finding Chicago better than ever as far as a creative, breeding ground. I saw Dawes last night at Gallagher Way, and Taylor Goldsmith said, "We have been to Chicago more than anywhere else. It's beginning to be our second home."
Nice.
Which you love to hear, from an LA musician that you respect,
Yeah, I think people appreciate that the cost of living in Chicago is a bit better than those places.
Yeah.
I think they like the lack of industry smarm. But I will say, I think that every artist here owes it to themselves to get out of the house, so to speak, meaning the city, sometimes, maybe for a while, because I think that you do need to have broad horizons, and you do need to see what people are doing in other places and meet some other people, because Chicago, I agree with you. It's got a very healthy community. It's got a very healthy local community. Depending on what your goals are as a musician, if you really want to reach, people outside of home, we don't have a moment here like we did in the 90s. And right now, I think it can always come back.
It can.
We don't have like a Seattle grunge moment or a San Diego whatever moment. I don't know if anywhere really does right now, and not even Brooklyn.
No, everything's. But I think we're riding we're going to ride a wave that's going to go up again. It's my feeling. I really do have faith.
And it's kind of okay if it doesn't, because we're all doing fine anyway. But I think that home becomes even better when you get out once in a while and see
Totally get it.
some people.
true.
Totally get it. Totally. Well, Spencer Tweedy, thank you so much for joining us
Thank
today.
you.
Really appreciate it.
Just a delight to meet you and hear you speak. Don't forget that there is going to be a big old concert on May 30th, benefiting Brave Space Alliance. It's a show. It's going to be at the First Church of Chicago. So go do that. But I want to look. That's the end of the show. I want to remind everybody, next week, we're broadcasting live from the Buffalo Grove Pride Parade.
Yes,
you're looking... Spencer, did you know you got the Grand Marshals of the Buffalo Grove Pride?
Are you serious?
We get sashes.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
We get sashes.
Thank you.
So it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
So we're going to be broadcasting live from there. I want to thank all, and don't forget to go to the Belmont Sheffield.
6:30 Nelson Street Revival, my band tonight, 6:30 at the Belmont Sheffield stage. Be there. You're going to have a blast.
Awesome. And I want to thank our guests, Tracy Baim, Kristal Larson, and of course, Spencer Tweedy. Devin, you were amazing. Paul, whatever you grilled smelled really good. So thank you for that going on there. Ellen, break legs tonight. There we are. And I'm Scott Duff. And until next week, stay proud.
Around the Town, Chicago, with Al Besloff.
We had a very